Are singers using too much autotune, or are people just uneducated? Hi, I'm Raised by Rage and I'm a music artist and a music producer. I've studied music production for about 5 years and I've released an EP as well as a few singles. Hence, I know the entire process of writing, recording and producing a song from scratch. And there's been something I wanted to talk about as a music producer for years. Since the rise of technology and autotune plugins, there have been a rise of people complaining about singers always using autotune when making their songs. And we're not talking about using autotune in an artistic sense to achieve the robotic sounding vocals some rappers use. We're talking about autotune in contemporary pop music and sometimes even musicals. Unfortunately, most people are wrong when they hear a song and go, oh, there's too much autotune in it. When we make a song, there's a process that most people are unfamiliar with called mixing and mastering. Mixing and mastering ensures all the different instruments and elements of the song have their own space to shine so that there isn't one instrument overpowering the other while still blending in nicely with each other. It also helps in ensuring volume consistency throughout the whole song so that you don't suddenly get your ears blown off. When we make songs, we also have to ensure that our song is sonically the same volume as most music out there to make it comfortable for listeners to listen to the song, instead of having to adjust their volume every time they listen to music. What you think is autotune isn't necessarily autotune. It's a mix of reverb, compression, EQ, and other plugins that we use to achieve a balanced sounding song. Now, I'm gonna break down a few of these plugins so that you leave this video as an educated person and stop accusing every singer of using autotune. First off, we have reverb, which, to put it simply, is like an echoey sound that makes your instrument sound like it's recorded in a room. The best way to explain it is when you're singing in the bathroom and you notice you sound good, right? That's reverb at work. Closed rooms typically have some sort of natural reverb. Reverb is used often when using with vocal tracks to help it blend in with the other instruments. There's also compression, which basically makes sure your recording is at a consistent volume level so that you don't suddenly go deaf. EQ is a plugin that lets you mess around with the different sound frequencies of your recording, and you can boost the frequencies that sound good to you and cut the ones that make your recording sound bad. There's also other plugins such as de-esser, saturator, and limiter, and they all do different things. Now, I don't usually see producers using autotune as autotune can be inaccurate at times. Hence, most of us actually use this plugin called Melodin, which is not autotune, by the way. The correct term for it is pitch correction, where you manually drag each individual word or note into the correct pitch. The difference between autotune and Melodin pitch correction is that autotune is kind of this thing where you just kind of slap it on your vocal recording, you turn it on and then it works. And you can set a key. So if your song is in C major, for example, you can set autotune to C major and it will tune all the notes that are off pitch to the nearest note that is on the C major key. For Melodin pitch correction, you actually have to manually use your mouse to select the note or the word, and if it's not divided correctly, you have to divide it yourself. So you have to manually select the note and then you move it individually, and you do it for every note or word in that song so that it's more accurate to whatever the artist wanted the song to sound. Melodin is what I believe most singers and producers use to achieve the pitch-accurate but natural-sounding vocals. Most people, when they say that a song has too much autotune, are usually talking about these other plugins that enhance a vocal recording to make it sound pleasant. Autotune can be difficult to identify in a finished song depending on how good or bad your mix engineer is. Don't believe me? I've actually linked a video by my favorite songwriter, Rumi Official. See if you can actually hear and identify autotune in a recording. Just earlier this year, I've seen a musician talk about autotune in this show called Has Been Hotel, where they complain that there's too much autotune in the production of the songs. I heavily disagree that the songs in Has Been Hotel are heavily autotuned, and I believe what they heard was in fact the other plugins I mentioned earlier. The singers from Has Been Hotel are Broadway singers, hence there is no doubt that they are insanely talented and do not need autotune or pitch correction. While the songs do sound heavily produced, it is simply the work of great mixing and mastering. Seriously, I am so impressed at the mix and master, so kudos to the mix engineer for that. And also, this musician, their songs aren't mixed at all, so it really says a lot. And honestly, I think if you're not a music producer, you shouldn't be egotistical enough to critique anything related to music production, as it spreads misinformation and singers and music producers like me get misunderstood. However, if you're a non-music producer and you still want to comment on Autotune, I think it's really helpful to have a few music producer friends to share their insights with you, as I am doing now. On a separate note, while Autotune can help enhance a vocal recording, it is ultimately the work of the singer that really brings the vocals to life. As a singer, there are many aspects of good singing technique, including breathing, tone, placement, etc. After all, you can't auto-tune vocals that sound way too nasal, and you sure as hell can't auto-tune vocals that mumble and don't enunciate the words. Just as you cannot auto-tune a chest voice into a head voice, so on and so forth. So if you hear your favorite singer using auto-tune, I hope it doesn't make you discredit their talent for singing. Auto-tune is really but a small and minute part of vocal production, and there are so many other elements in music production that help bring a song together. I find it really funny that autotune is the only thing being critiqued. And when a singer uses autotune, it's as if the whole world is ending. Nobody ever complains about compression or reverb. So please, stop shitting on autotune. Stop putting autotune on the pedestal thinking it can fix all the horrible singing in the world. Because it can't. You can use autotune and still have a bad vocal recording. In the end, the tool is only as good as the person using it. It is the skills and experience of a music producer and mix engineer that really helps make a great song a great song. My dear music producers and mix engineers, what do you think? Are there any important points that I've missed? Do let me know in the comments. And to my non-music producers and non-mix engineer friends, I hope you've learned something new today. Do let me know what other topics I should cover, or if you have any feedback on how my future videos should be made. I'm more than happy to hear it, as I'm currently experimenting with video topics and video styles. However, I think I want to stay away from talking bad about other people, even if they've done bad things. So that is one genre of content I won't be doing for now. Thank you for watching, and send this to someone who has some self-educating to do on Autotune.